Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm working in my journal. I'm doing a paper doll inspired journal. You would have seen that I made the front cover in one of my recent videos, so check that one out if you want. But I'm doing the middle spread here, so it's 2 signatures in this journal, and there's a really nice even middle middle page that I'm going to decorate with some flip outs. So working with flip outs today, you know, we'll have envelopes, we'll have some card. So this is just a backing card of some double-sided tape that I've saved. I'm going to fold it over just so it's got a bit of a lip on it, if you can see that. And I apologize, it is a shiny piece. I want to get that a little bit more even. You can score it if you want to. So I just want enough just to be able to adhere down, but before I do that I'm going to cover it and decorate it. So I'll just move the journal off to the side and we're going to decorate that a little bit there. So I'm just going to use some book page. Use whatever scraps you've got. I just want to get rid of the shiny surface on it. Now I'm going to cover the lip over too, so if we think of it in our page, it goes like that. We're going to cover both sides. So inside I'm going to do a little bit of collage. And I'll get some other paper as well. Just cutting it into pieces at this stage. Get some 6x6 paper. I've just gone through and did a bit of a tidy up this morning. So I've got some things sort of, you know, at hand. Alright, so we might start adhering down. I've left some straight edges on that. It'll save me cutting any off later when you get too much overhang. Nice rainy day today. I don't know whether you can hear the rain on the tin roof of the studio, but it's really lovely, relaxing noise. So there's no rhyme or reason, I'm just throwing down some paper just to cover up that shiny cardstock. And you could, of course, put just a plain bit of cardstock down there and did some stamping on it. And I'm just using a glue stick to adhere this down. I do like also when I'm collaging to work with gel medium, but it takes a bit to dry. And when you're doing a video, you don't have that long to just sit around waiting for it to dry. And I don't stop and start my videos. What you see is what you get. I just do start to finish. So you're getting live time, no editing. And as you can see, when you collage, it just comes together so quickly. I've left this craft mat on my desk too. I was doing some gel printing the other day, doing some background pages. There are videos if you want to check that out as well, guys. So relaxing, but I thought when I'm gluing a lot, I'm going to leave it on there because it's so easy to clean up. You just use a wet towel, baby wipe, just to wipe it over. I'll just get that crease back there before that dries. Lovely. And I just flip it over. Now what we're going to do on the back, I might do a piece of cream cardstock. Got a piece here. May not be big enough, but that's okay because we can do a strip of something. Alright, so might get some coffee dye paper. I'm just going to do a strip on each end because we're going to do a little bit of stamping or stenciling over the top of the other. Might do the coffee dye paper right down. Actually, no, that's the piece getting stuck inside the journal, so we won't need to worry about covering that one. And if you forgot that was the side sticking down, it doesn't matter if you decorated it, because you're going to be adhering it to a page. I'm just going to straighten this edge up a little bit. Just going to eyeball it. Of course I can get my trimmer out. That looks fairly straight. So what I'm effectively trying to do, or why I like flip outs in my journal, they create additional journaling space. You've got one page that normally you'd have a surface either side. Then if you've got these flip outs, you can create another space like on here to journal with. Now I'm just deciding whether I might do another strip up there and another strip down there to create like a bit of a border with the coffee dye paper. And I'm just going to take just to even it up, to give each of these sides a similar width of a border. So it's like anything when you're working in a journal, you know, you might just sit down and then it sort of takes its own course as to what you want to do. Because a lot of the times, you know, we are working with scraps, like torn bits of paper or, you know, old cut-offs that we use. So this is where your creative juices start flowing and ideas just come to you once you start. So, you know, that's the most fun, not having too much of a master plan when you start some of these projects. And I really like watching these tutorials of people actually working in their journals, because that's where you get all the great ideas. Like it's great to watch, you know, making tags and embellishments and tucks and things like that. But this way, by sitting down, you know, sit with a cuppa, kick back and just listen to, you know, why we decide to do something, or, you know, what the idea, how it come to us. Sometimes trial and error, not everything works out either, but that's okay. The beauty of craft, especially paper craft, like anything can be covered up. Absolutely anything can be covered up. Now I'm actually going to, I've got these, they're actually sewing scissors for edges to stop material fraying, and I love them because you can get like a stamp effect. Are they called crimpers? I'm just not quite sure. But, you know, they also do mask any any edges that probably aren't that straight. And when you ink it, they can form a little frame themselves of your project. Now, I don't know why I've come over to the studio without my glasses, but I did pop over to the house before to have a cup of tea, and while I've brought my phone back, which is what I'm using to video at the moment, I didn't bring back my glasses, but it should be okay. We'll make do. Now, the ink, the Distress Oxide ink I'm using is Scorched Timber. It's a new one, so I'm using it a fair bit to get used to the colorings of it, but it is a darker color than the walnut stain that I normally use. So it does give you a little bit of a charcoal effect, I guess, but in a brown, not a black. And it's a new sponge too, so sometimes it can, you know, come on. A new stamp pad, a new sponge can sometimes grab in places. I'm just going to give it a bit of a swoosh over just to blend her in. So you can see, and then I will go around the outside of that as well. So I might adhere that down. I'm just going to use the glue stick for that as well. Glue sticks are really quick to get over a big surface, and they coat the glue really even. We might even go that way, decorate the front and have the back as our journaling space. Might do that. So I'm going to have to put some coffee dye paper down there, because I'm actually going to adhere that back piece on there. So I've got a strip left over here. And I might cut that edge straight, just so, actually I might do it with the pinking shears. I want to blend it in, but I don't want to bring it over onto the page. And then I'm just going to trim it off. I love flip outs in a journal. One, they give you extra journaling space, but they make your journal very interactive. You can have little hidden pockets, you can have double flip envelopes. It's just so much that you can do. Now, at this stage, you can decide which side of your journal you want to flip it. I want it to put mine on the right hand side. That's going to be a bother, so I'm going to cut that one off. And then we can look to do some decoration on the front here. Now, like I said, I am working with like a paper doll theme, so we might do some decoration along those lines. I'm just going to look for a big ticket or tab for that one. So I've got this box. I've printed out a heap of purchased digitals and cut them up. So I've got this box, and some of the labels are great. They're quite big, that, you know, we can decorate with. So it's a case of doing a bit of a rummage through and just, you know, just placing some stuff down. Actually, I do like that. It's amazing sometimes when you, you know, you start layering stuff. I want a number down there, but probably not that one. When you start putting stuff down, how well everything goes together. Actually, I quite like that. And what I'm looking at is I'm going to adhere that down, but I'm going to leave that as a pocket so we can put some stuff in as well. So like I said, as you go along, you'll come up with these ideas, and they're really great to, you know, it sort of makes itself in a sense, some of these, once you get started. So we're going to glue this one down first, because that one will go completely down. And if you're going to ink, guys, now is the time to do it. So I'm just going to, especially with if you've cut stuff yourself and they've got a very fine white line there, because you've gone as close as you can to the edge. But just by inking, regardless of whether you want it to come onto the actual embellishment itself, it will get rid of that little stark edge. So now with this one, I'm going to move him just off to the side. This one, I know I don't come quite down as far because I'm going to glue 3 edges of it. And I'm going to use my art glitter glue. I always put my thumb on the edge that you're not going to glue. It's a good way to remember, especially when you're doing these videos, because when you're talking, thinking and doing, that's when you can get carried away, especially when you're gluing. So him I'll take right down to the edge, and I'm going to use art glitter glue for him too. You could use your glue stick. It's whatever you got on your desk. If you know it's a good glue, then use it for your projects. I never ink the paper dolls. They've got like a shiny surface, so it just wipes off anyway. So it's not worthwhile you doing it, because it's just going to come straight off. Tim, if you're watching, some matte ones without the shiny surface would be amazing. Just for, you know, if we want to change the color of them a little bit. And I know you can ink and do things like that, but just these simple little projects that we want to put a different color ink around them. So effectively you've got a little bit of journaling space there, a little bit of journaling space there. To flip it over, you've got a heap of journaling space there. That's on the fold, that edge. So I'm just going to put a bit of art glitter glue on that one, just to pop him down. I'll just get my bone folder and just give it a good firm. And then I'm just wondering if we've got a little tag. handy. Here we go. Actually, I might do a little journaling card to go in there. It's only going to go to about there. Now this one I will do a straight edge on, so I'm just going to bring over my guillotine. So I want a straight edge on it, and I want to round the edges. So I'm just going to take a hairline off each side. And then I'll just get a corner rounder. So this one I'm using is a 1/2 inch. This is an EK Tools punch, and it comes in a set of 2. You get the 1/2 and the 1. I do have them in my shop, guys. I'll put a link in the description if you want, but if you want not too big of a edge, especially with little things like this, the 1/2 inch is perfect. Now I just want to ink around him. I'm not going to do anything to him. You could put a sticker on it, but this is a little journaling card that I just want to leave plain, and it's just going to sit down in that pocket. I mean, we could put an eyelet on it. We could put, you know, we might even want to put a tab on it, which I think I might do that. It might, well, here's one that'll match some of the paper we've used. Now this is punched, it's a new punch, Avacyn Creative put it out, of the whale punch that got discontinued a long time ago. So I actually got this on Amazon, and it's spelt VAESSEN Creative. And I think I only paid about, it was under $40 anyway. It was something like $34.95. And it actually punches, you fold a bit of paper in. Actually, no, it's punched like that. That's your punched piece. You don't have to fold paper or anything. Super easy. So I, you know, went through my scraps and I punched a few out just to have on hand. So it makes your projects a little bit quicker. And then I've just got them in some clear drawers. And I mean, you could also put an eyelet in that if you wish. So he will tuck down in there nicely. Okay, lovely. We'll put him off to the side. Now I've got an envelope here that I also want to cover, or decorate rather. And I'm going to do both sides of that as well. I'm going to grab some. Let's go through and see. Grab some paper. Now I don't want to go over that lip, how it tucks in there a little bit, so I'm just going to mark it just outside of where I want to cut it. Just bring up my little mini guillotine. I haven't had this one. I've been after one for ages, and I haven't had it that long, and it just sits on my desk, and I just love it. I've always used like a paper trimmer rather than the guillotine. So I'm going to glue that down and then I'm going to cut it off. And the beauty about using papers like this is you don't necessarily then have to go and decorate them too much. Of course, depending on the theme that you're doing. I'm just going to trim that slightly off there and then trim. A bit challenging without the glasses, but never mind. I was just trying not to cut the actual envelope. I've glued that, so I'm actually going to throw that one away. I could have probably stuck it down to a bit of cardstock, but yeah, I chose not to on this occasion. I'm thinking maybe a photo, because I'm going to put a photo on the front of it. So maybe another, or maybe just something here to leave a little bit of, so maybe an actual paper doll there, which I will grab one. Now, let's have a look at the size after. So if I go to my bigger ones, don't mind that one. She might be a bit big. So it can be a little bit trial and error. I do like the colour of this one, so I might stick with that one. And I want to get a little bit of contrasting background down the back here. So let me see what we've got in. The beauty about digitals, once you purchase them, like let's say I use that today, I can go reprint it if I need it for another project. Do like that long one, but let's just be sure to be sure. Actually, even a all right, I do like this one. It's unusual for me to like the first thing that I throw down. So if you can see that, it's got a slight white edge, but when I ink it, see how it camouflages and gets rid of it? That way you don't have to be too particular about your cutting too, because, you know, cutting all of those it took me a fair while, even though most of the edges are straight edge, which is the beauty about them. You know, I still sat down in front of TV and did them. So I'm going to ink around the envelope before I glue that down. And I want to ink the edge of this, so I'm going to get a bit of cardstock or paper. Just to define that edge, because you know we'll be putting things in and out of that. All I've got the ink in my hand, I'm going to do the front edge. So you can see how things come together quite quickly. I have a lot of clusters already done on hand in a drawer. a lot of tags already done. So when you actually construct the journal and put the pages in and decide your theme or what you're going to do, and then you're going to decide to put it all together, it makes the process quicker by having things on hand, and it also helps with your creativity when you can trial a few things on a page. Okay, well, we might leave that as a pocket then too. You never have enough pockets. Pockets and tucks. So I've glued just the 3 edges. I've left that edge open because I was going to stick this down, but we can just tuck it in there. And then I'm going to glue the paper doll on. And I actually like this number. This was just left over from another project, so it was still sitting on my desk. Now, just want to get it under her. Tag might be too big. Slightly too big, but we can make a smaller tag if we want. What else have we got that we can tuck in there? Might do that one. Once again, it's a digi and it's got some ruled lines on it, so you can journal on it front and back. And I print most of my ephemera. If I'm doing digital downloads to print, I do them on, it's a card stock. It's 210 GSM. So, you know, it's still thin enough, but thick enough to have a bit of body, and thin enough not to create too much bulk. It's a beautiful white smooth cardstock, so it takes ink, as you can see, takes ink really well. I do have that in my shop too, guys, if you're after that. I don't know whether we'll put that in there as well. Yeah, we can double put that in there. So we're going to glue that piece down, so we will decorate that once it goes down on the page. And now over here, so as I said before, I wanted to use the photo, but I want some texture in the background, and I'm trying to think about if I want to add a color, if I just want to do paper. I don't want anything too busy that's going to take it away from the photo. Okay, no. So I'm thinking maybe a plainish colour. Similar to that maybe. Alright. Grab my guillotine again. And I may not like it once I cut it. But I'm just going to have my photo on there, just to gauge a rough width to get the border fairly similar. So I need a bit off the side of it. That's better. Now around the edge you'll see, even though I've inked it, to me it's still quite stark. So I actually want to do a little bit of stenciling on that, because I'm going to do some stenciling on my page where the flips are going. So before I do that, I want to corner round the edges on this and ink it. So you can sort of, these have got a shiny surface, but I just want to do, because I think I've cut this one down a bit. Just want to do the edge of it. Now on here, I'm going to grab a stencil, which is, I like this flowery lace one. It's a Tim Holtz layering stencil. I've just actually got a lot of these layering stencils into my shop because I really like the size of them. I also do mixed media with stencils too, and I find they're just a great size to work with. Now I'm going to use a makeup brush, one of these. I find them so easy to stencil with. Now remember, we only really need to concentrate on the edge because we're covering up the rest of it. And you can go as dark or as light as you like. I might go a bit darker. So you can see it just gives it that beautiful texture looking, just something a little bit different. I do a lot of stenciling in my journals because, you know, to me, even if it's a coffee dyed page, to me it still needs a little something. It just brings the whole journal together. And then you can, I just want to deepen the background a bit. See how I'm just getting rid of that starkness now. And tones it in beautifully. All right, so let me stick that down. just wondering whether I will put a little something down there. Now I do want a label of some sort. Don't want anything too much that'll take it away from her. Maybe just some writing of some sort. Yep, that looks good. And I may stick that little butterfly as the center of the flower. I don't really want to put a button there because I don't want to add too much bulk at this stage, although I do have paper buttons somewhere. Yes, there. Which I did do a video on these ones, guys, so if you wanted to check that out as well. It's a good way to use up your scraps as well. Beautiful. You know, you can do numbers like so. I've put glossy accent on mine, so it just to me, it just finishes it off, but you certainly don't have to do that. You know, I've done book page. I'm going to use the art glitter for this, or you could use fabric glue. Right, that'll just take a little bit to dry, so I'm just going to pop him off to the side to dry. I'm going to bring my journal back in, and I'm going to stencil just a little bit all over. So I'm not going to, well, you'll see what I mean. I'm not going to lay the stencil down and do a complete even cover of the whole stencil. I just want to highlight bits and pieces just to get rid of the starkness on here, like I was showing you before. Just got to find the pin. There it is, the pin to my glue, because it dries up pretty quickly. All right, so if I bring that stencil back in, now you can pin it if you just leave your fingers in one area. So I only want to do parts. Now I don't know whether I can get down into that middle section. Not really, but it's added a little bit of contrast in there. We can always cover it up with some cheesecloth or hessian. See how that's very light? It just took that starkness away. And you can definitely still journal on that. I was telling you before about the white smooth cardstock that I print most of my digitals on. This here, it's a 300 GSM, so it's a thicker cardstock, and it's a cream, and it's a kaleidoscope cream. It's the nicest cream cardstock that I've found, and I have searched for them all. It takes ink really well, as you can see, and I do also have that in my shop as well, but it's just a beautiful color to work with, because all the other ones I've ordered, they've been like these little envelopes. They've been like a yellowy cream, and sometimes when you ink something that's already that dark, it takes on a different look, and it can turn quite orangey. But with this this one, just absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All right, so let's adhere our flip outs. So we're going to go, we could even go down on that one. We might be able to pin something on top. So yeah, I'm not going to go quite to the bottom, I don't think. I'm going to use the art glitter. So not quite to the bottom, and I've come in a little bit because my flower's hanging over a bit, and I don't want to get it too damaged with the opening and the closing all the time. So that flips out. We're going to make a little journal card to go in there, and then we're going to just put a strip of something over that, and we can certainly ink it as well. I mean, we can ink it as is, but it's got the sticky piece there that I want to cover over. Or we can just get a piece of book page, piece of decorative paper. What have we got? Go that. I'm just going to eyeball it. A lot of these papers I'm using today are Kaisercraft ones, out of the 6x6, which is a great size for smaller projects. And like before, I'm just going to pink the edge, just so it blends more rather than having that straight edge. And I think I'll leave it straight where it goes against the envelope there. Now I'm not inking that because I'm going to do some stenciling over the top. So I'm going to bring it out to the edge a bit. So yes, there's a gap there, but I'm inking that there as well. So that's not a mistake. And even if it was a mistake, we're going to stencil over the top of that anyway. Okay, so back to my, and we're going to ink over that too, so we can go the whole piece. Just mindful that that one folds down a bit. So let's do it first. Lovely. And like I did before, you just buff out that dark, that starkness. Okay, I really like that. So, but I think I will add a paper doll there just to take away the difference in the colour. Just, you know, as a point of interest, she opens up, there's two there. That's my way of thinking. See if we can find her a friend. Possibly similar size. Or even, let's try this. No, too stark. We want a darker. And the beauty of the paper dolls is you do get a range of different colours that will go with your projects. She's not as stark, but she'll get a bit lost. She might be too big. So trial and error. And because I don't have the full sets anymore either, I've used them quite a lot. Actually, I like that one. And I do want something behind her as well, because it looks a bit starkish. I do like that one, but let's just have a bit more of a look. I must get these into a folder too. It will make life a lot easier. Actually, I like that. Adds just a little bit of colour. Or is it two? That's not too bad. Let me just ink the edge. And you can see if I take that away, when you look at that, you don't look there, your eye goes straight to there. So by putting this down here, if I just sit that back there for you, you will see that it takes the eye off there. So it brings the eye back to here. And actually, so because we've got a pocket there, we can put, I'm going to do a little card that goes inside this envelope, and we can put that in there. There's just some extra journaling space. I'm not going to stencil the envelope, I'm just going to ink around the outside. I'll do both because we are pulling it out. So when you're inking, think of how it's going to be used. So if we're pulling it out, we're going to see both sides. If we were gluing it down, then we're not. Now I need a little bit of cream cardstock. See if I've got some in the drawer here. So we want roughly, we can cut it like that. And I'm going to just neaten that up with the guillotine just on that one side. Just a slither, and then I'm going to ink around it so it becomes a journaling card, and front and back. That'll tuck inside our mini envelope like that, and then that'll tuck inside that envelope that then folds over to there. Now we're going to adhere this one on over here. So one thing I didn't take into consideration, so that's a little bit longer, so I'm going to have to cut, unfortunately, some off the side there. So here's where you will decide, do I take it off the Route 66 or do I take it off this side? So in order to decide that, you can go like this, like that, like that, or like that. And I think we're better to take it this side. So what we'll do, we just have to do the fold down here a little bit closer. So rather than everything fold over and add bulk, I'm going to peel it back and cut it. That's better, still slightly. So just maneuver it a little bit more. because you don't want to create any additional problems when you're closing your journal, because they already become a little bit, you know, fat towards the end. Now I'm just going to add a bit more glue in here because it's now on a fold where it wasn't before. Beautiful. So if we check that out, yep, perfect. Just going to trim off that bit because we ended up folding it a little bit more after we trimmed it, and then I'm going to ink it. Lovely, and now I'm going to glue it down. That one I'm actually going to clip because it is a little bit on the thick side. I'm just going to clip it to hold it down just while the glue adheres. Art glitter is pretty good, like it will go, you know, pretty quickly. Now you can also, if you wanted to decorate more, you can put a paper clip and have something up the top there. You can put a notepad in there if you wanted to. You know, you stick it across the top there. They're not made up, but I've got some coffee dye paper. So, you know, you could put that up there. It does cover your decoration up there, but it's entirely up to you. You could put a little pocket down here and just slip it in like that. But I actually like it like that because, you know, we want some journaling space on these pages in particular. So we're going to leave it at that. This one we might add a tab to. So, you know, if you've got tabs that you want to use, they can go to the edge of the page because I've put that one down far enough. So also when you're doing your pages, think about that as well. Just going to take that off so I can show you. So that will fold out. We've just got to get it to a point where it doesn't stretch or rip that, which is like that. So we'll let that dry. Here, I think I might put a little bit of lace down there just for something a bit different. We'll see what lace I've got. I don't think I want a heavy lace. So if I just went, you know, a lace like that, just so it blends into the background, as opposed to a lace like that, which both look okay, but I actually like this sheer one just to stick down there. Now I might use a bit of fabric glue for that one. This one's nearly finished. I've got them stored upside down. So you don't spend half your time trying to shake the glue down. Get that dab off. And once again, you can add decoration to here if you want. I actually like the thought of being able to journal on there. And then we've got you know, our little pocket on the front here too. We could also put a pocket across the bottom there, but I like the fact that we're going to journal on there as well. So there you go, guys, just a couple of little ideas with some flip outs, you know, adding extra in there too. Like we can journal on the envelope as well as the card inside it. We've also got, here's a pocket for extra journaling space. There is just decoration, so you know, we can journal on this page, we can journal on this page, we can pull out there and journal front and back on there as well. You got a couple of little pieces there to journal on as well. But I hope you got some great ideas out of that, and have a go at them. You know, I love the interaction of the flip outs. You can do pages, pockets, everything like that, but definitely have a go, guys. Great spending time with you today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.